Hello crochet crafters, this is the part 5 series of the 100% cotton sheep pot holder, and this is the last one for this. So we're going to do the feet. Sheep have typically two clove hoofs in the front, so that's sort of the pattern that I'm following. And the way that you might need some stitch markers, the way that I'm determining where I want to put the feet is I'm looking at the ears. Put this up a little bit. I'm looking at the ears, and then I'm kind of going straight down from where the hair is in the ears, and if you want, you could put a pin there. And we're working from the front, so you would count 1, 2, 3 over and work that way. Or from here, I counted 1, 2, 3 over so that I could start here from that way, so that I can make sure that I have them about approximate to the ears so that it's not looking too funny. If you want to, try it and then you don't like the positioning of it, you can take it out before you go on to the next row. But remember, you're going to cast your yarn onto your crochet hook. I do it from behind, and then I do a single chain, and that's not really considered a stitch here, so I'm going to go through again and do a single, and that's what I consider my stitch, and I'm working in my tail. If you don't want to work in your tail, again, you'll have to. And the next stitch is a single crochet, and you're doing 3 of those. So if you count 2 and then 3. And if you want to go ahead and look at that, I kind of like where that turned out, so I'm going to just keep going with it. Do a chain and turn. And I worked my tail in, so I'm going to go ahead and cut that off with my scissor. My scissor is, for some reason, I got to sharpen them today. All right, so now we're going to do the second row, which is just a, you have 3 stitches there. You should have 1, 2, 3. And it should be as easy as just going across and doing those single crochets. Chain 1 and turn. I lost my my yarn here. Keep my chain 1. Let's do this again. It's very humid here today, so that's why my yarn is a little bit giving me a little bit of a problem, because it is a little bit humid. And the humidity, you really have to keep the yarn. And you don't want to use old yarn, because sometimes old yarn has really come apart and the humidity has gotten to it. So when I've gotten to that third one, I need to create the 2 hoofs. And I did not properly, again, get rid of that tail, because what happened was the humidity took hold and I didn't cut it down to the proper thing. Chain 1. And it's okay to turn it to the back now, because you're going to do a hoof stitch, and a hoof stitch is basically going to be like your puff stitch. You're going to wrap around, go in once, wrap around, go in twice, wrap around, go in a 3rd time. We've done this stitch a lot, and then you're going to pull it through. And it's the same puff stitch that I've used for the hair and for other parts of this, so you should be familiar with that now. Then as far as the middle stitch, you're just going to go and slip stitch it, because remember, sheep have 2 hoofs. So for the last one, it's going to be like another puff stitch. 3 times, like we've done. And that gives it a little bit of that pointy hoof. chain one. And what I do when I chain one now is I'm going to turn it back around. And as you can see, my hoof is finished. And to finish my hoof off though, I pull it tight, and then I'm going to go ahead and get it on the crochet hook, and then I'm going to pull it back down, so that that hook kind of stays down. And then I'm just going to work my yarn back through so that I can make sure that when I wash this, that nothing's going to come undone, because remember, I talked to you about washing it and not having ends come undone. So you want to work it across, back, and then you want to work it up through. And then I typically do it a couple more times because I sell everything that I show you on YouTube. I end up selling at Lori's Handiwork on Etsy or at my craft fairs. I've just started selling online, but I sell a lot of stuff at craft fairs, and so if I show you how to do something, it's gonna go, and that's why I want to make sure it's doubly secure. And again, that's done there, so we're going to work on the face a little bit. And I typically, again, continue with the 100% cotton for burn purposes. We don't want it to burn on the stove. So here we are, the front of our face, and we're going to work with white. Now this is a little bit of a challenge, and the reason it's a challenge because we don't want to muck up the back of this with white. When we turn it around, we want it to stay nice and clean. So get your stitch markers out and figure out the placement of your eyes. It should sort of be just 1 or 2 rows down from the fluffiness. And again, if you just noticed, just want to show you, I'm going to pull through because I don't like the fact that there was a little bit showing in the back stitch. Not my favorite thing. There. Make sure it's not showing through. And what I'm going to do is, I don't tie in other types of crocheting, but in this kind of crocheting, it's okay to take this and tie. Because what you're doing is, you're creating what? The eye. And I'm tying a knot twice. And the way I'm going to secure that knot is I'm going to cut this off, which is the top of the yarn. And then I'm going to take that and put it through like so. So very tight. I may not even be able to do that right now. It's so tight. I think that knot's okay. I don't think I'm going to have to be able to do that. So basically the eye turns out to be a really fine knot. Now, I love eyelashes, so I'm going to cut kind of slanted. I love to make eyelashes. And I'm going to take a little bit. This has 4 pieces of yarn. And I'm going to go like this. And I'm going to spread them apart. And that came out so nice. I like it. So then, again, nothing on the back. So then I'm going to go over here. And if you haven't done this before, I've done this a lot. So if you haven't done it before, you probably want to do a place marker. Like I'm on this row. So you probably want to do a place marker to make sure that where you're putting the eye is really where you want it. And if you get your yarn through and you look at it and you go, oh, I don't know if I want it there. So let me see if I like that there. Yep, that's going to be good. Again, I've done this a lot. So I'm going to go ahead and tie a nice tight knot. And then I'm going to tie a nice tight knot again through this way. And really super tight. And you can even, I got another hint for you, you can even put a tiny, tiny bit, tiny, and I mean tiny bit of cloth glue. And if you put even more than just a tiny bit, you can cause problems because, again, it can show burn marks and also ruin your project. So if you're not very good at working with glue or you don't have any expertise in that, I wouldn't suggest that right now. So that's my eyes. Now sheep. Now you could just do a nose and come down this way if you wanted to, which is, you know, a lot of the times what I want to do. So I think this round circle in the middle where we started is really going to be my benchmark for making the nose. So I'm going to make kind of a bigger nose than what we did for the eyes. And then for the sheep, I typically come down like so to make the face, but I just wanted to see where that was, because remember, we don't want it to go through to the back. And I'll give you another little hint. Make sure that your yarn is a little bit longer than mine, because I messed up. I should have had it a little bit longer. I thought I cut it. See, that's what it does to you. Even if you're used to using it and you think you know how much yarn you are, just cut yourself a nice long piece of white yarn. So again, I'm going to double check myself. I think that looks okay, just having the white there, yeah. That's kind of hard for that circle, believe it or not, to take it like just through the front, but I don't think if you turn it around to the back that looks unsightly. So if you do something like that, that's okay. I'm just talking about having random pieces all over the place. But when I bring this down here, I'm not going to bring it. I'm not going to bring it through. And I really wish that I would have gotten a longer piece, because this is okay though. This is good that I made a mistake. So I can show you how to do this. We're going to get a much longer piece of yarn, and we're just gonna start over with that. Because you want the face to look nice. So far, I'm loving the eyelashes on this one. And they all have character, by the way. Each one that you make is going to be a little different. That's why when I sell them too, I only sell one at a time, and I don't do them like group batches, because I never know if they're going to look exactly the same. So all I'm going to do with this one is I didn't bring it through the back this time. I just brought it through the front. The nose is going to be a little bit bigger than I want it to be, which is fine. Just going to tie it a little tighter and maybe pull it that way, give it a little character, maybe have a little pop up right there, little button nose. Pull it out a little bit more. That's great. I think it came out fine. And then I'm going to come and try to find a straight piece down here to come to. Perfect. Perfect. Let's see. Popping it back through, tying it tight for the mouth. Leaving a little, you know, the mouth has a little black, so I might I might leave it like that. I'm just trying to figure out how far I want to go up. Do I want to give it a big smile? You know what? This sheep is so good looking that I don't need to make a huge mouth. It's gonna detract from this particular piece. So I think I'm gonna come in the loop backwards. If you come in the loop backwards like that, then you're not gonna have the black showing the same way. If you sew, you're going to know how to do this, and you're going to manipulate it. And guess what? This is really what I call the creative end of the project, where the other is pretty straightforward. And this creative piece, just like I did with the other pot, you know, the chicken, everything can be really manipulated. I don't like the way that yarn, oh, there it goes. I didn't like the way that yarn looked on that. Okay. So I don't think we have to give her a massive, huge smile, because I think she looks kind of good the way she is. I think maybe I'll try to pop this through on the other side and tie it off so that it doesn't come off in the wash. And pop it through that way. Give it a final pop. Maybe work it through one more time. Let's see if that looks too bumpy. See, nothing on the back, just that. Okay. I think we're coming to an end here. I'm going to tie it tight. Like I say, I use knots a lot when I'm making faces, and you can buy embellishments to make the faces. You can buy the eyes, you can buy the nose, but even when I make like dolls and things, I tend to make my own faces, because then you don't have any pieces that children can put in their mouth and hurt themselves with. And that's why I've become creative with knots. But I think I really, really like the way this one came out, and I'll tell you, at the craft shows, they seem to really love my pot holders. Now, this is a trivet for the ground. If you want to add, I want to mention, if you want to add a hook, you can simply go to the top here, count up, and I probably will add a hook right now very quickly so that they can hang it. So, and again, you want to just maybe chain 6. And if you, I'm working my tail in, so 3, 4, 5, and 6. Coming back around, pulling it, slip stitching it through. So you're slip stitching through, and let's just make sure that I like this. And I think that's a big enough pot holder. So what I'm going to do, again, I'm not going to keep you right now for this, but I'm going to go ahead and work this through, and then we will have our sheep pot holder. And that's it for this series. I hope you really enjoyed it, and check back with me often on Lori's Handiwork on YouTube, because I add videos every day, and I'm going to be adding a pig pot holder series, a cow, a dog, and a cat. Thank you for watching. Have a great day.